I got involved with housework. Got my laundry done. I can see my dining room table again. It was just when things get stressful, housework becomes second priority. But you can only live in a dirty house, a messy house. My house rarely is dirty, but it gets messy. I just want to start this thing off by saying Thomas Schoenberger and Lucien Greaves, aka Johnny Dubb, are desperate to control the narrative of this child trafficking. I've only had to deal with fucking Doug Mesner for over a decade. I know Johnny Dubb is Doug. I've dealt with him before. I know it's Doug. I know that Thomas Schoenberger, there's a reason why he doesn't want anyone to know that Johnny Dubb is Lucien Greaves, because it connotates him with this whole mess. And he is connotated. He's involved with it up to his eyebrows in it. The murder of Isaac Cappy. Thomas is heavily involved. So is Corey Daniel. They're both involved. There was a group of them, and they're all involved. And they're all trying to actually distract from the bullshit. Funny how this group, who's supposed to be all involved with child trafficking, hasn't done shit about child trafficking. Isn't it interesting how it works that way? All they've done is dispel things. Oh no, that's not the case. Oh no, that person's not involved. Oh no, those homeless camps are fine. That's what they do. That's all they do. Thomas Schoenberger will go on and on and on about how he's just this little musician. He's just a little musician who does his little artwork, but he's more involved than anybody I've ever seen with all of this mess. And why? Because it's his job. It's his job. Johnny Dubb isn't Johnny Dubb any more than Johnny Kilrush was Johnny Kilrush. Any more than Lucien Greaves is Lucien Greaves or Doug Mesner is Doug Mesner. They're all Doug Masico. He has a zillion names in real life. Why do you think he would not have a zillion names in online? You know? Online. And it's all their fucking child trafficking bullshit. This is all it's all about. It's all about their child trafficking bullshit. You know? They're all involved. And yeah, they all have different jobs, but that's not saying you can do one thing and still be involved in other things. You know? Their lives are not all black and white. Fuck, if you ask every one of them, they're just ultra dynamic. Everything to everyone, every time, everywhere. And yet they want to just be, Geo can't be a murderer. He's a chef. And chefs aren't murderers. Fuck. There have been chefs who have murdered people. You know? Geo will do anything for a fucking dime. I think every one of them will do anything for a fucking dime. You know? They've sold their souls. Why do you think they would care? You know, they'll do just about anything they have to do for money. Considering how they live, they're not getting paid enough. You know, but then my soul is worth a little bit more. But that's this whole mess. Thomas Schoenberger is a fucking liar. All you have to do is go research him. He lies all the time. He defrauds tons of people. He's just a bullshit artist. Geo Farnsworth has a fucking rap sheet. Daniel Dowd got busted for fucking a 4-year-old. You know? All of these people are involved in this criminal enterprise. And you want to know what their religious preference doesn't make a fucking bit of difference. What, Jews can't be criminals? Catholics can't be criminals? Mormons can't be criminals. Buddhists can't be criminals. You know? Really? That's how it fucking works? Because I don't think so. And Thomas keeps trying to run the narrative and trying to say that I'm fucking Jewish. Funny, because when I was out in Washington, I got baptized Mormon. But hey, what the fuck are facts? You know? Whatever. You know? And it's all about child trafficking. And they do their shit because their shit has always worked. When has any of this child trafficking shit ever come out? When? When? Jeffrey Epstein ever come out? Has it even come out yet? No. No. Because it never does. Because they have this group that goes around and throws out fucking disinformation. The shit that's on my blog, if you go look at my blog, all that shit that Johnny Dubb sent me, that Thomas Schoenberger wrote, it's all bullshit. The reason why I fucking published it is so people can read it, so when it doesn't make any sense, they can actually see the lies. You know? And that's why I do what I do. You know? Because they know I'm going to publish it, so I published it. It's bullshit. Fuck, if you believe them, you're fucking stupid. You know? You need your head extracted out of your ass. Because they're liars. Doug Masico, I should say, can't even get his name right. He lies about his name all the time. And Thomas Schoenberger is desperate for people not to figure out that Johnny Dubb is Lucien Greaves. But he is Lucien Greaves. Every time I turn around, that INTJ or INJT organization, the International Tribune Justice Tribunal or whatever the fuck it is, Doug Mesner went on and on and on about that for fucking years. So I know, and then Johnny Dubb just coincidentally brings it up. You know? There are no coincidences in this thing. I've said this before. Coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence stops being a series of coincidences and starts to form a pattern. That's how it works. And so it's bullshit. Thomas is a fucking liar. Thomas Schoenberger and Craig Sawyer are the ones who murdered Isaac Cappy at Michael Aquino's behest. That's what I believe. I believe Corey Daniel and Daniel Dowd are the ones who took his fucking corpse and put it on the fucking bridge. That's who I think happened. And I think this because of all the shit I've had to deal with them and all of their stories they have said. You can just go read because fuck, they send me shit and then they contradict what they said before. And you can't corner them on anything because if you call them out, Thomas was involved with the people who fucking are breaking into my house. How do I know that? Because Johnny Dubb, as Lucien Greaves told me, Thomas Schoenberger doesn't believe that I'm poor because he's seen the interior of my house. There's nothing special about the interior of my house. But the question is, how did Thomas see it? And what was Johnny Dubb? How did Johnny Dubb? They're all working together. They're all involved. Thomas Schoenberger is CIA. Michael Aquino is CIA or was CIA if he's alive. If he's alive, he's still CIA. If he's dead, but I don't think he's dead. Shane Bugbee, the co-founder of the Satanic Temple, left the Satanic Temple after Doug Mesner told him that he was involved with the CIA. Who the fuck made all this stuff about Jeffrey Epstein go away? The government. Who's keeping it hidden? The government. It's right there. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure any of this shit out. And they're liars. And they're fucking kids. They need to be investigated, but they dance around like fucking baboons in heat. And Thomas was upset that I told him his life must be miserable. The dude sent me pictures from when he was 16. The dude lives in the past. If you compare to what he looked like in the past, compared to the fucking troll he is now, he does not command the attention that he used to. That's just life, you know? And the dude is just one of the most egotistical people. Fuck, all you have to do is ask him. He'll tell you how fucking superior he is, how amazing he is, how just brilliant and how talented and how this and how that. You know, he'll go on and on and on. Fuck, if you let him, I bet he talked to about himself for an entire evening or more. That's how it works with those kind of people. Doug Mesner actually saying, "Oh, I'm a college dropout. I'm not brilliant like Lucien Greaves is." Uh-huh. Doug, who the fuck are you kidding? You know? You're a goddamn child trafficker, and you only have to go investigate Satanic Temple to find out there's seriously weird sexual shit going on with them. Weird sexual shit. Bizarro stuff. So to say that they're involved with kids is not a big leap at all. And funny, all this child trafficking, the Sewer Town Club, Tara Joyce, and Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth, and Corey Daniel, and Jesse Davis, and Corey Daniel's wife, Alicia Ray, don't have a fucking clue who Lucien Greaves is. Don't have a clue. Thomas doesn't have a fucking clue who Lucien Greaves is. You know? Must fucking kill Doug for them to actually deny it, but he's a liability. Nobody wants to be associated with Lucien Greaves. The freak just will drag them down. Thomas will be involved with them as long as they fucking can lie about it. But it's a lie. The shit, if you go read the shit that Johnny Dubb sent me, he forwarded Thomas Schoenberger's shit. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Thomas Schoenberger wants to control the narrative. But Thomas is Corey Daniels' boss. That's what I believe. I believe Gabe Hoffman is Thomas Schoenberger's boss. That's what I believe. And why do I believe that? Because of my personal interaction with all of them. And I've had a lot of personal interaction with all of them. You know? But I just want to make it clear. Thomas Schoenberger is a fucking liar. Liar, con artist. Doug Mesner, even worse. They're involved. They murder people. They're fucking kids. Obviously, the Satanic Temple is just fucking everything it can. That's the whole thing. Bondage, fucking public orgy shit, just bizarro shit. And then to think that they're actually involved with kids. That group that has those accusations are involved with kids with the Satanic Temple after school daycare. But all these people who are all involved with this child trafficking don't know who Lucien Greaves is. Never even heard of him. Funny. I know lots of survivors who are nowhere near as involved as even I do, who are well aware who Lucien Greaves is. I'm not doing anything for fucking clickbait. People don't even know who fucking Thomas Schoenberger is. And Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, Doug Masico, who lives in Tacoma, Washington. You know? It's all involved with this child trafficking bullshit. And nothing's gotten done. Nothing's gotten done. You know? I have someone who keeps sending me, oh, they arrested 12 people here, and they arrested 20 people here. They're just arresting the low-hanging fruit. The actual real problem, the ones who are actually behind the actual real problems, aren't being touched. Aren't being touched. And the Jeffrey Epstein files still haven't come out. Still. That's just a fact. All these people who went on and on and on about how they needed these files got elected because they wanted these files out. Now they don't want them out anymore. Funny how it works that way. But they don't think anyone will ask any questions. And why? Because most people don't. Aquino's right. He was right when I was a kid. He told me no one would believe me, and if they did, they wouldn't care. And that's what I found to be true. You know, if you are worried about your kids, you want to stay as far away from me as possible because they target people who get close to me. They do. Shit, at one point in time when I was in Washington, I was having people tell me that they would have strangers come out of nowhere when they were out getting a coffee or at the grocery shop or whatever. And they'd start talking all this inappropriate stuff with these people. A stranger would come up to them and start talking to them about their husband and their kids' school and where their husband worked and or where their wife worked, blah, 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 blah. And then at the very end of the conversation, they would bring up my name. That's why I took comments off my YouTube for years. I wouldn't let anyone comment because they were targeting people. And I wasn't going to put anybody out there, you know, I wasn't going to put anybody in danger. So for years, I turned off comments and turned off I turned off comments. I turned out you couldn't like my videos. You couldn't comment. That only changed a little over 2 years ago when I was told in a shamanic journey to open up comments and start talking about Isaac Cappy. And then the minute I started talking about Isaac Cappy and opened up my comments, who fucking inundated me? Corey Daniel, Alicia Ray, Daniel Dowd, Geo Farnsworth, Thomas Schoenberger. All of them descended upon me as a group immediately after I started talking about Isaac. Isaac got murdered because he was harassing Michael Aquino on the phone with 4 of his phone numbers. God only knows what he was telling Michael Aquino about that homeless camp he was trying to expose. You know? Why don't you take a fly swatter and go fucking smack a 900-pound grizzly bear in the face as many times as you can and see what that fucking grizzly bear does to you? Because that's exactly what Isaac Cappy did. Any idiot could tell you that maybe harassing Michael Aquino on the phone probably wasn't the brightest fucking idea. Which is what I said to him the very last conversation we had. Because I was so mad about the situation, I didn't want to talk to him anymore. He was a liability. He was dangerous, you know? I always knew how dangerous Michael Aquino was. And Thomas will say, well, he only mentioned Michael Aquino in his book once. Yeah, I mentioned Michael Aquino in my book. But my book is my life story, and I was away from Aquino after the age of 10. And Confessions of an Antichrist was not all about me under the age of 10. You know? Oh, Cash Patel. And Thomas Schoenberger was bragging about how Cash Patel was going to save him. You know, the dude's too busy fucking spending $60 million flying his fucking girlfriend around on FBI planes. It's a fucking grift. And no, nothing's being done. Not a fucking thing is being done. But the intel that Johnny Dubb said, oh, now you have good intel on your blog. It's all bullshit. And it all comes from Thomas, and it's all lies. Because Thomas is a liar who wants to control the narrative of all this child trafficking because he's heavily involved in it. You know? He's all heavily involved in it. Lucien Greaves, heavily involved, not only in the child trafficking, but shutting survivors up. That's his whole MO. Nothing is being done. Nothing is being done. Not a damn thing. What's new? You know? What's new? Anyone who's a victim of this knows this is how it always goes. This is exactly how it goes. You know? This is how it always works. And then people wonder why we're frustrated. Victims are frustrated because it's just continuing to happen to those kids. It's those homeless camps. Thomas trying to say that, oh, you need to ignore those homeless camps. There's nothing involved. Oh, Corey Daniel is focused on those homeless camps. They use each other. They all work to fucking gather. Corey Daniels works under Thomas Schoenberger. They work for the same group with the same objective. They're just controlled opposition. Johnny Dubb is Lucien Greaves. I don't give a fuck what he says. I've dealt with that motherfucker for over a decade. Every goddamn day, almost. For over a decade. I know fucking Doug Mesner's style. I'm well aware of his style. I'm well aware of who he is. And I'm well aware that he can fucking lie at the drop of a hat. They're all very prolific liars. There's actually a restaurant called Chicken Hawk. You're kidding me, right? You're just pulling my leg, right? There is not a restaurant called Chicken Hawk. For those of you who don't know what a chicken hawk is, it's a pedophile. It's another name. It's a gay term for a pedophile. Chicken hawk. You're a hawk that goes after all the little chicks. Oh, so you're telling the truth. Oh my God. I wonder who would want to eat there. California. California, of course. And that's just it. Aquino did get off on the grounds of national security. That's why I've been doing the content that I have for years. It's the reason why I wrote a book. It's the reason why I have a blog. And they can say that I'm a grifter, but I've only started to ask for assistance for the last 2 years. My book was published in 2012. The book itself cost me 14 grand. The audio version, that costs 4 grand. 18 grand, I haven't even come close to actually recovering the money for that. Haven't even come fucking close. Then I have a blog. Costs me about $1,000 every year. So to ask for donations, I don't think is a big deal myself. But I'm certainly not a grifter. I don't charge for anything. My blog is free. I obviously can't give my book away for free on Amazon, but the extended version is for free on my blog. I'm not monetized on YouTube, but then I don't want to be monetized because I'm not having them control what I can say and what I can't. Not doing it, you know? But it's all about child trafficking. That's what all this bullshit is about, is child trafficking. Thomas Schoenberger is so fucking involved. Any moron can see. When he goes on and on and on, it says that he's a musician, and that's all he does. He's just a little musician that does music. But all that fucking information comes from him. If you go to my blog, that's all shit that was forwarded to Johnny Dubb. He's so heavily involved with all of this stuff. Who has the time? Unless it's their job. Or unless they're disabled. I'm disabled. This is my focus. You know? And so Tony Hawk's face. I'll have to look that up. You know that that's not. If he has a restaurant called Chicken Hawk, that's not a coincidence. He had to have known. That is not a phrase that a lot of people are aware of. You know, But that's what they do. They parade the shit in everyone's faces. My brother, who was a prolific thief, among other shit, he was also a child pornographer and murderer. My brother was a piece of shit. But he always told me, if you were going to steal, do it right out in the open because people won't believe their eyes. That's the reason why they do the shit that they do. Because if they just do it right out in the open and they're just doing it right there, you won't think that they're fucking serious. They're using your own cognitive dissonance against you. You know? He wrote a book called Eye of the Chicken Hawk. I've never even heard of this dude before. I only know who I know. There's a lot more people involved. A lot more people. But if you start investigating the people I know, it'll lead you to the rest. And I think that's what's happening. That's the reason why Lucien Greaves has to email me. Fuck, I don't know how many times a day. The dude just fucking wakes up thinking about me. And Geo, if I don't fucking mention him, he'll fucking wait a couple days and then he has to mention me on YouTube. Because, God, if I don't fucking say his name once in a while, he gets all butthurt. You know? Sorry, I'm on the 3-season porch and there's flies out here. But, you know, I've never read Eye of the Chicken Hawk. I've never even heard of that book title. Isaac was heavily involved. Again, people need to investigate Isaac Cappy. Live Isaac Cappy. You know? Oh my God, he's a famous skateboarder. Same fucking thing with Daniel Dowd. He's on all those fucking gaming sites. Because that's how they're doing it, is they're going on gaming sites. Skateboarders, if you have adults who are completely connected to kids and are always around kids, not always, there's an exception to every rule, but you might want to look closely at the situation because it always seems like that. Pedophiles go where the children are. That's how it works. Pedophiles go where the children. They're hunters. So they go where their prey is. And who are their prey? Children. That's how it works. It's just aggravating to have to talk about this all the time. That's why yesterday I ended up cleaning my house. I am so stressed out about those taxes. I don't have, the last week was terrible. I didn't have any money to eat. But I'm not in the boat alone. There's a lot of people in the same boat I am. It just happens to be the Titanic. You know, people are sinking. It's just, it's rough. With that said, I'll put the link for a buy me a coffee. Anybody who wants to donate, should I do this all day, every day? This is the stuff that I'm doing, is investigating, looking into stuff, exposing it, doing these videos, doing my blog, doing everything I can to expose the shit. That's what I'm trying to do. Johnny Dubb is Lucien Greaves. He's Doug Masico, a.k.a. Doug Mesner, a.k.a. Lucien Greaves, a.k.a. Johnny Dubb, a.k.a. John Kilrush, a.k.a. whatever the fuck name he comes up with out of his ass any fucking given day. Why does a man need so many aliases? You know? I haven't seen anything. I get irritated about, I've never had to deal with Tom Hanks. Never did. And so I get irritated by everyone always focusing on Tom Hanks, like Tom Hanks and Oprah Winfrey were on the fucking bridge with Isaac. So I get irritated because it's meant as a distraction. You know, Thomas Schoenberger and Craig Sawyer are the ones who murdered Isaac Cappy, and Corey Daniel and Daniel Dodd were the ones who put his dead ass corpse on that fucking bridge. And nothing about Isaac's death makes any fucking sense whatsoever. And then they'll insult you and call you names if you say that, though, because that's what they do. They're little criticisms, you know? Simon Dovey. It's a book by Simon Dovey. Can you give me the title? When I get off here, I'll go on Amazon and look it up. See if I can't order it from my library. I'll read it. You know? It's just aggravating to be here all the time. It's just, this child trafficking needs to be exposed. Thomas Schoenberger is heavily involved. Gabe Hoffman is heavily involved. If Michael Aquino is still alive, which chances are good he is, the Eye of the Chicken Hawk. God, I hate that name. Elohai Priest, and I think it's his Tom White. It was an Australian government official that paid for that plane ticket for Isaac Cappy to come to Australia. I talked to Isaac. The conversation that I got into with Isaac when it became an argument because he told me that he had 4 of Michael Aquino's phone numbers, that happened right before he went to Australia. In that conversation, he told me he didn't have any money, that they had screwed with his PayPal and Venmo. But I don't think they screwed with his PayPal and Venmo. I'll say donations are incredibly infrequent. You can't count on them. I appreciate those of you who have helped. Oh my God. But it's, so Isaac couldn't eat. And so he didn't know how he was going to pay his bills, and he was starving. But then in the conversation, that was when he told me he had 4 of Michael Aquino's phone numbers. And he was harassing Michael Aquino over the phone. Then 2 or 3 days later, he suddenly had a plane ticket to go to Australia. And then he left for Australia 2 or 3 days later after that. So he got a fucking round trip ticket to Australia, leaving in a week. Can you imagine how much that cost? And he got connected to Elohai Priest, who was involved with blood diamonds. And why would that be accepted? Why would that be of noteworthy to Isaac Cappy? I guess because Isaac Cappy's dad is a jeweler. And Phoenix Enigma is fucking bullshit. You know? Isaac Cappy was heavily involved. All of his friends were fucking criminals. The fact that dude didn't realize that he was going to end up dead and that it was going to be his friends who killed him just shows how the dude didn't live in the same world I did. Let me say that. He was broke. And nobody had fucked with his PayPal and Venmo. It's just people can't donate all the time. And those who do donate, they can't donate. You know, it's not like you're... Fuck, some people open up GoFundMe and next thing they know they have $2 million. But survivors, victims of all of this stuff, that never happens that way. You know? They try to keep us down. If they're a real survivor who are actually trying to bring exposure to this stuff, they're kept down. If they have hundreds of thousands of fucking followers and they're everywhere and they're on CNN and they're everywhere, they're them. They're them. They're the honeypot that the CIA is giving you to actually distract you from the truth. And obviously it's easily done because the truth still hasn't come out. Fuck, I've been at this since the 80s with Franklin. That shit hasn't come out, let alone any of the other stuff. You know? Okay, I don't know who you are. But nobody cares where you are. And nobody cares that you're in the bathroom. Melissa. I wonder if that's my niece. Troublemaker that it is. Hear your marriage didn't go very well. Not surprised. Anyway, so that's what this is. If you want to help out, I'll put and both PayPal and Venmo is just at D Shurter. So the letter capital D, capital S, H-U-R-T-E-R. I got paid today, but bills wipe it almost all out. I'm going to have to go get dog food for Lucy. And I think I have $50 left over after that. But everyone is hurting right now. Because the grifters just can't fucking get enough. You know? Building a fucking, $300 million ballroom so they can go fucking dance? Well, everyone starves. Loses their homes. You know? They're only going after the low-hanging fruit. They want to actually appear like they're doing something, even though they're not doing shit. Cash Patel is too busy fucking flying around with his girlfriend thinking he's hot shit. Breaking all kinds of rules. But then we're in days where our political party likes criminals. That's why he pardons them all the time. And then they go do stuff and end up in jail again. You know? Never seen anybody pardoned. Just wait. You know, Jizzhead Maxwell is going to get pardoned. Fuck, I'm surprised that the Tate brothers haven't been pardoned already. You know? George Santos. Fuck, you better all hang on to your wallets. That's how it works now. And they're just parading it around. In everyone's faces. They're doing the same shit with that they've done with the child trafficking. But let me say, Johnny Dubb is fucking Lucien Greaves. I don't give a fuck what he says. And Thomas Schoenberger is working hand in hand with them. Because Johnny Dubb and Thomas Schoenberger together as a collective group told me how they were the ones who got Isaac Cappy to get on Nathan Stoltman's show. So they've been involved the whole time. Heavily, heavily involved. And of course fucking Thomas doesn't want anyone to think that he knows Lucien Greaves. You know? What, afraid that you're going to be caught up in those bondage fantasies? The fucking public orgies? All of the other shit that all the fucking Satanic Temple people are complaining about? And so all of that weird-ass sexual shit, but it's just a step too far thinking that they fucking brought in kids with it. You're right. Fucking sexual deviants would never fuck kids. You're right. You're absolutely right. You know? Or at least no sexual deviant you know, I guess. The sexual deviants I grew up with, that I had to endure and I'm a victim of, fuck everybody and everything. That's how it works. They fuck everything and everyone. Including your doorknobs, your silverware, your plunger handles, anything that they can fucking shove up there, they'll fuck. So you think kids are off limits to them? You better pull your head out of your fucking ass before you asphyxiate. That's all I have to say about that. But Thomas Schoenberger is working with Lucien Greaves. Lucien Greaves is fucking Johnny Dubb. They're all involved with child trafficking. They murdered Isaac Cappy because Isaac was trying to expose them. They've been after me because I'm trying to expose them. They fucking take out and target anyone who tries to expose them. That's how it fucking works. And they're all protected and they dance around like fucking baboons in heat. And Thomas, you're a disgusting, fat, unkept troll. You're older than I am and you're sending pictures out when you were 16. And why do you look gay in every picture? What's with your hair? Are you a closet homosexual? Because aren't you married? But every one of your pictures looks like you're a little bit light in loafers. And as a gay man, as I am, my gaydar is pretty damn strong, princess. Fuck, you kept the hairspray company in check, didn't you? Fuck. Now you don't use hairspray. Fuck, you don't even use shampoo from what I could see with that one picture, that one video. You know? And you don't command the attention that you used to. And it bothers you. And I think it's funny. I think it's funny. You know? I think it's funny. I just don't think that your child trafficking bullshit is funny at all. At all. And obviously you're desperate to control the narrative, and obviously I'm a threat because I wouldn't fucking be receiving every goddamn email. You know, I haven't heard from Corey Daniel in fucking a long time. Last time I talked to him, it was when I went on that lift the veil thing of Nathan Stoltman's. What, a year ago? Before that, it had been months upon months upon months. But Thomas Schoenberger, every fucking day. Johnny Dubb, every goddamn day. The person who's dropped out is that Chris Mackenzie Jones, the Australian dude. But I have a feeling that things in Australia are getting a little bit heated. And he wanted out of that. But Thomas Schoenberger, Lucien Greaves, even so, Johnny Dubb says, oh, my name isn't Johnny Dubb, it's Brian. Okay, so you don't even remember your name in your fucking emails. You're just a fucking liar. You know? They do sacrifices. My brother David didn't even live 24 hours. My dad fucking sacrificed David, his firstborn son. And David Christopher got murdered. Destroyed my mom. Destroyed my mother. It's bullshit. But the darkness that they so love that they think fucking protects them is here to claim them now. They are just too fucking egocentristic and arrogant to think that they're not in complete control. But they're not in control. And so, all right, well, I'm at 43 minutes. I like to keep these at 45. And so, narcissistic psychopaths. They're not sociopaths. They're psychopaths. They like violence. They like violence. Gio goes on and on. He's one of the most violent. He idolizes fucking violence. Daniel Dowd idolizes violence. Thomas Schoenberger brags about how many people he's murdered. So is Johnny Dubb, Lucien Greaves. But then if you counter it, if you called him out on it, then they just change the subject. They don't even deal with the accusations. They just change the subject. Thinking that that's going to make everything different. It's not. They're fucking murderers. And they're fucking kids, and they need to be fucking investigated because kids deserve better. And if you don't think so, three little words for you. Enjoy the dark. How about four? Enjoy the fucking dark. Because let me tell you, you end up in the dark, you're going to feel like you got fucked. And you will have. With that said, any donations would be great. Fuck. My life sucks. And I have to deal with this every goddamn day, all day most of the time. You know? The only way to get away from it is I have to actually take a break. Yesterday, I took a break and worked on my house. can see my dining room table again. It's wonderful, you know? But it's bullshit that victims have to go through this. We're not survivors. We didn't get over anything. It's a process. We're still trying to survive it, which makes us victims. And they're not victims. They're the fucking perpetrators, fucking kids, and murdering anybody who gets in their way. And so, clean is great. And it's getting ready to go back to being dark again. And I'm not depressed. I'm more stressed than depressed. But I can only deal with the dirty house for so long. A messy house. I like things clean. But with that said, I'm out of here, guys. I'll be back on tomorrow because Tuesday is usually my normal day. I just did one today because I said I was going to go on Sunday, and I got caught up with the house. And at the end of the day, I was too tired, you know, and so I didn't want to do it. So thanks for your time. Like and subscribe. Share. Go check out my blog. A lot of good information in there. If you have names that you want to know if I've talked about, just go to the search bar down on the right, type it in there, and all kinds of names will come up. I've had that blog since 2011. And let me tell you, it's not free. Grifters don't give shit away. And I have. My blog has always been free. My videos, my YouTube videos have always been free. Everything's been free. No, the book that Amazon sells for me isn't free. But you want to know what? I couldn't convince Amazon to give it away for free. But raise the vibration. With that said, my prayer for Sarah last time worked. She actually had a really great art show. So I'm going to pray. And then I'm going to end this. Hopefully it'll be 50 minutes. If they're much longer than an hour, people don't watch. Heaven, I come to you. It's fall. We're going into the holidays. It's a stressful time. People are broke. People have job insecurities. There's a great gnashing of teeth. Help us all realize that we need each other. And don't let the separation that they are trying to fester in between all of us work. The issue that we face, that humanity faces, is that the 1% who owns 97% of the wealth are so fucking enveloped with want that now they want the last 3%. They want the last 3 remaining percent, and they want everyone else to starve or be their slaves. And I hope that mankind stands up against them. I hope that you provide justice. I hope you make things right. And that you start protecting kids. You sent your son, our brother, Jesus Christ, down, who solidified the word. And we are grateful for that. And we say these things gratefully, lovingly, because all glory goes to you. And we say these things in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. I have the chicken hawk. Thank you for reminding me of that. I would have actually put that out of my head. But as soon as I get off here, I'll go to Amazon and eBay and see if I can't find it. Because now I'm just curious. Who wrote it? I have the chicken hawk. Who wrote I have the chicken hawk? Well, I'll just look at it. I have the chicken hawk. All right, I'm going to get off here. Simon Dovey, thank you. Simon Dovey. I'll try to look it up. I have the chicken hawk. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. It's a Tony Hawk book. Okay. Thanks, guys.